Let me tell you how a snowplow, a stubborn HOA, and one unforgettable Colorado winter turned my quiet life upside down and taught me more about boundaries than any property line ever could. I never set out to start a war with a neighborhood association. I just wanted to run my landscaping and snow removal business, mind my own business on 5 acres outside Greenwich, and enjoy the freedom that comes with living beyond the reach of the Pinewood Heights HOA. Freedom to park my trucks wherever I like to store my gear without someone wagging a finger, and most of all, to never, ever attend a meeting about the appropriate shade of taupe for mailbox posts. My boundary was clear as the line of pines that split my land from the HOA's sea of cookie-cutter houses. I bought this land precisely to avoid people like Patricia Hendress, the self-appointed general of Pinewood Heights, and a woman whose favorite hobby seemed to be making other people's lives more difficult. If you've ever met someone whose tone could strip paint, you know the type. Then February hit, and with it came the kind of blizzard that makes headlines. I was buried under 3 feet of snow by Tuesday, every phone in my truck ringing with desperate pleas. Hospitals, old folks, county contracts. I was working 16-hour days in my pride and joy, a Ford F-550 with a plow that could move mountains. I was tired, but I was raking in cash and helping people who genuinely needed it. So when an unknown number popped up one Thursday, I figured it was just another driveway or business in trouble. Instead, I got Patricia voice sharp as the wind off the ridge. "We need to discuss your responsibilities regarding snow removal on Ridgerest Avenue and Timberline Court." I actually laughed. "Ma'am, I don't live in your HOA. You've got the wrong guy." But Patricia had done her homework. She knew I wasn't a member, but as the only resident on Glacier Ridge Road with professional equipment, she decided I had a community obligation to plow her kingdom. I told her in no uncertain terms that she had no claim on my truck, my time, or my patience. She responded with the first of many threats, reminding me the HOA had prominent business leaders, a county commissioner, and 3 attorneys. "Lady," I said, "don't threaten me unless you're ready for a fight." I hung up, called my buddy Derek, a reluctant HOA member himself, and he told me Patricia was already melting down in a meeting about me. Apparently, she'd recruited her legal attack dog, Stephen Morrison, the sort of attorney who makes his living suing neighbors over fence lines and winning. Friday came with another heap of snow and a tidal wave of angry voicemails. Patricia called my clients, spreading rumors about my unreliability. She told them I'd abandoned contracts, called my business ethics questionable, and suggested they drop me. By noon, 4 other clients called to warn me she'd done the same to them. My blood was boiling. I met Alan Tucker, my attorney, old school, no-nonsense, allergic to HOA drama. He heard me out read the voicemails and statements from clients and said, "Scott, this is tortious interference. She's intentionally sabotaging your business. You can sue her and the HOA for damages." I just wanted to be left alone, but Alan knew better. People like Patricia don't quit unless they're forced. He told me to save every voicemail, every letter, every scrap of evidence, and boy would I need it. Saturday things got even more surreal. I found a certified letter taped to my door, official Pinewood Heights HOA letterhead, signed by Patricia and her lawyer. According to their careful review, I was in violation of multiple county codes, storing commercial vehicles making noise before 7 a.m., failing to screen equipment, none of it true. They claim my refusal to plow their streets was a public safety hazard. But magnanimous as ever, they'd drop their complaints if I agreed to plow for free. That was the last straw. Alan drafted a cease and desist, threatened complaints to the Bar Association, and told me not to respond. Still, the harassment escalated. County code enforcement started calling. An inspector showed up, but I was ready. Everything legal, everything up to code, and every complaint closed as unfounded. But Patricia wasn't done. She and her posse came marching to my gate, literally a convoy of cars, a mob in tow. I met them at the locked gate, no trespassing sign staring them in the face. Patricia pleaded. Her lawyer threatened. Another neighbor accused me of endangering children. I stood my ground. "You want your roads plowed? Pay your contractor. You're not my responsibility." Patricia vowed revenge. I called the sheriff, filed a trespassing report, and kept my cameras rolling. Next thing I knew, someone chained my gate shut, trapping me on my own property. Luckily, the cameras caught everything, license plate and all. Turns out the vehicle belonged to Robert Chen, one of the HOA's attorneys, who claimed ignorance. Alan filed for a restraining order. The sheriff started to look tired of Patricia's antics. In court, Patricia tried to play the concerned neighbor, but the judge saw through her act. Reviewing the evidence, Judge Foster gave her a glare that could cut steel and granted a restraining order. Patricia was banned from contacting me, my clients, or setting foot on my property for a year. The HOA's legal threats fizzled. For a week, life was quiet. Then came the storm to end all storms, 3 feet in one day. Pinewood Heights was buried, their own contractor overwhelmed, and Patricia, barred from contacting me, whipped her neighbors into a frenzy. According to Derek, they blamed me for the snow for their contractor's failure, for the fact that no one could get out. Then Derek warned me Patricia was planning something. I should have listened. I woke up to the rumble of heavy machinery. Patricia, in a rented plow, was shoving an avalanche's worth of snow into my driveway, building a 12-foot wall of ice and spite. I caught her in the act. She waved, claimed she was only depositing snow on the county right-of-way, technically legal, but obviously aimed at blocking me in. Martinez, the deputy, could do little in the moment. Technically, she wasn't on my property, but the intent was clear. So I did what any reasonable, exhausted, slightly unhinged guy would do. I built my own wall. That night, under cover of darkness, I took my truck and pushed all that snow right back, packing it into the only entrance to Pinewood Heights. 14 feet high, 40 feet deep, denser than concrete. It was beautiful, a monument to petty justice. The calls started at dawn. Desperate voicemails from Patricia, threats from her attorney, howls from neighbors. I ignored them. Alan assured me I'd broken no laws. The county right-of-way was fair game, especially since Patricia had set the precedent. Deputy Martinez showed up again, but all he could do was shake his head and take notes for the record. The news broke that night. A local producer interviewed both sides. Patricia, red-faced and ranting about community obligations, looked like every HOA villain people love to hate. The story went viral. Snowdrift justice trended. Suddenly, I was a folk hero. But as the days dragged on, reality set in for Pinewood Heights. Supplies ran low, people missed appointments. The community began to turn on Patricia. Derek called asking if there was a way out. I didn't want innocents to suffer, so I proposed a deal. Patricia resigns. The HOA apologizes, publicly pays my legal fees, and formalizes a permanent easement stating I have zero obligation to them. Within hours, the paperwork was signed. Patricia's resignation letter was a thing of beauty. She even admitted her actions had been inappropriate. The HOA issued a public apology, and I was officially done with them. That evening, with cameras rolling, I dismantled the snow wall. Patricia put her house up for sale within a week. The story made me a minor celebrity. Business boomed, new clients poured in, and even the county apologized for the hassle. The new HOA president, Dorothy, actually treated me like a neighbor. The next winter, I plowed their streets as a paid contractor with a signed agreement. So what's the lesson in all this? I learned that bullies thrive on fear and silence. But when you stand your ground, document everything and refuse to cave, justice has a way of snowballing in your favor. Sometimes the only way to set boundaries is to build a wall, metaphorically, or if necessary 14 feet high and packed with Colorado snow. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it satisfying? You better believe it. Did it teach a whole community about accountability? Absolutely. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line when someone in power tries to take more than they're owed? Would you fight back or let them roll right over you? Drop your thoughts below, share your own HOA horror stories, or tell me about the time you had to stand your ground. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: boundaries matter. Respect isn't optional. And sometimes justice arrives in the form of a plow truck at 2 a.m. when you least expect it.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.